I don't know how you misunderstood this, but all right.
Let's give him a chance to redeem his credibility. And I ask, sir, surely you're not implying that if I... I first just need to attest that what I'm about to tell you is completely true. I'm going to tell the story verbatim to how it happened.
Well, first off, welcome to the Two Gaming Dudes. Please subscribe to
Oh,
the
yeah.
channel. If you've never been here before, click like.
Yeah, you're going to want to, because
All that
depending
stuff.
on your stance on some things, you may not want to afterwards. What are some professions, or sometimes where a regular Joe Schmo public surrenders control and has to just give your total trust and faith in another person? I mean, like an airline pilot.
Right.
You have no life. You're on that airplane. I have to trust this man's judgment and expertise.
Right.
Completely.
Right. So there's that. There's anytime I guess you go in for surgery.
Medical study, yeah.
So medical, if you're going to be cutting me open, I better trust that you know what you're doing.
The nurse that measures out your dosage and injects your chemotherapy drugs.
And plumbing. If you're going to come over here and fix my toilet, I have to trust you can do it better than me, and you're going to do it right, you know.
You have no control over these things. Your safety, your very life, you've given complete control to these people. You have to trust their expertise and judgment. I'm at the hospital Thursday, and my assignment is a little weird. I'm working a service line that I don't normally work with a surgeon I've never met.
Okay.
This is a nuisance case more than anything. So who's this doctor? Just don't talk about religious stuff. He's kind of a Jesus nut. So don't even get into it, because I know how you are, and you're not going to, like, okay, I'm not going to.
Just don't bring it up then. We'll just talk about the job.
We'll just do the word. I don't care who the guy is. I don't want to know him. Whatever. Okay. The conversation starts off, as we're in there, we're working on this woman. And it starts off very innocently, that he bought a new camera lens from Nikon.
Nice.
It's a super high-level, he's a wealthy guy, super high-level camera lens. So strong, they use it on certain lunar probes. And it's so good, NASA asked Nikon to stop producing and selling it. And I didn't say anything. It says, because it's so strong that if you look through it, you can clearly see that the Earth is just one flat plane. There's no curvature to it.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And I was going to make the wise crack. I was going to say, so flat earthers are using this as evidence, but I didn't say anything. I just
you just
paused for a second,
go,
and he kept on going with it. Pushing for, they're keeping it quite intentionally. They don't want too many people to get a hold of this lens. Over the Earth, over the ground, there's too much debris and stuff in the way. There's mountains and trees and buildings that you don't really get the effect. But over water, you know, as long as the wind and atmospheric conditions and the waves are okay, you can see clearly that it's just a flat plane. And of course, NASA didn't want people to know this, so they convinced Nikon to stop building this lens.
Oh, no.
And I'm looking at the CRNA is on the other side of the glass. This poor, sweet little girl. We'll call her Amy. She's not Amy. She's like, that sounds like a really nice camera lens. You can take some really nice baby photos here.
You're trying to just be as politically correct as possible.
Our scrub tech who's working with us, he's like, you can see his whole soul go, just finish this case already. He's not going to say or he's not getting involved. I'm like thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to give this man, maybe I misunderstood.
I don't know how you misunderstood this, but all right.
Let's give him a chance to redeem his credibility. And I ask, sir, surely you're not implying that if I'm standing on the beach of Western Michigan and I look across the lake, I can see the Chicago skyline 110 miles away? Well, now, that's a very interesting point, but the thing is... And then about 5 seconds pass. You know, when you try to educate people on this, and their instinct is to make fun of you and ridicule you, it just shows that they don't know. It shows that they don't know what they're talking about. I'm like, it's on, Daddy. Here we go.
I'm like, so we're gonna play this game, are we?
Okay.
All right.
We're in for a penny. Let's go. We're going. Hey, how come we're taught, you know, that our ground-based radar loses its signal? Because your radar waves travel in a straight line. They're radiation. But the Earth goes like this, and eventually your radar waves shoot off.
Yeah.
But if you put up an antenna,
it'll catch the wave.
Catch a little bit more.
Redirect.
And if you really want to see far, you send up a radome on top of an AWACS aircraft, and now you can see like 400 miles away. Why are we bothering building AWACS aircraft? You didn't like any of this.
Of course not. No.
Because at the beginning, I was like, oh, this guy's messing with you. He's dead serious. He's dead serious. So what does NASA have to gain by hiding something like this?
Right.
Well, it's not NASA themselves. Somebody's pulling the strings at NASA.
Who?
Satan.
God damn it.
Satan is pulling the strings at NASA to trick people. I'm not making this up. I swear, I'm not making this up.
I'm just, one second. This is an educated surgeon. Is that right? This is a doctor. He went to school.
He went to undergrad and med school at a top 10 school in the Midwest. That's all I'm going to say.
Please continue.
Satan is pulling the strings at NASA to trick people into believing the false satanic ideas that the earth is round and evolution, to turn humans into murderers. And at that point, everybody just went silent, finished the case. He's done. We're closing up, sewing up. We didn't say a word. And I went out to administration like, what? How can you do business with this guy? What's wrong with you? This man is a fucking hazard. How is this hospital... Why did this hospital hire this guy? Someone this detached from reality is freaking dangerous. What's wrong with you people? How could you hire this guy?
What was the response?
There's no response. Like, yeah, he's a nut. This is beyond nuts. He's like the guy that shows up at the pizza shop in New York with a rifle because he's convinced Hillary Clinton is running a child sex slave operation from the basement of the pizza shop. And he shows up to shoot the place up. There's no basement, much less any child sex slaves.
Right.
Turns out it was all internet bullshit. What's wrong with this guy? Is a nut. I'm like, don't put me in the room with this guy ever again. I don't want my name associated with him. I'm not putting my name on a chart with him. Turns out, during COVID, he shut his practice down. Because the hospital mandated, if you're working here, you have to have a COVID vaccine.
Right.
Forget it. I quit. Shuts down his practice, fires everyone in his office, and goes into retirement. And then last year, quit drinking.
Got back into medicine.
And came back to work.
Holy crap.
And joined one of those churches where they go, ya la la ma la la la, where they speak in tongues and handle venomous snakes and drink arsenic.
So, the woman on the table, is she dead?
No, she's fine.
Oh, okay. I just figured she came in, my shoulder's a little sore, and now she's dead because this idiot... I mean, how do you make it that far in life? How do you make it to the point of like, here's my dissertation paper on the human anatomy and everything on medicine, and also Satan. Satan's in pages 37 through 62. I think that's an important part of medicine you should know about.
I mean, what I really wanted to ask, I could tell the fuse is lit. Just don't blow up the
right, because this could go so much farther.
What I wanted to ask was, were you always like this, or did you crack up during the shutdown? When did you crack up like this? But I didn't ask anything like that.
When your question should have been, would you like to come on a show later? Every Saturday, my buddy and I get together and we do this show, and I feel like you should be on it because it's one thing for us to tell the story, but I feel like you need to be there and tell your side of the story because I have questions.
I mean, the incredible irony. If I was to tell him, hey, would you appear on camera and tell us about these? He would love to. Oh, you put it on YouTube. We definitely need to spread the message because we need to stop NASA from spreading He would be all over it. But I mean, in this context, he would be up and have walked out a long time ago.
Well, sure, but I think we need to just set him in the center, and then you and I just take back seats behind him.
Just let him talk.
And just let him go.
Yes.
And when he's done, we say, thank you so much, and then we see him out, and then you and I sit down and reflect. And then, editing.
That's a great idea. It would be a fine episode, but I don't want anything to do with this man.
I don't blame you.
Danger. Part of me was
he would see the episode and then come shoot up the family.
We need to do like a red flag law. Somebody needs to go do a wellness check on this guy and make sure he's not going to kill his family and commit suicide. That's how fucking nutty he is.
I don't even know what to say. Like, how do you...
Stupefied, man. Stupefied.
I'm thinking now about how far you could have taken it if you were in the proper mood and there weren't, you weren't at the job and
I've got
if this were at like a Panera Bread and you just ran into this guy and he's like, dude, you got a minute to sit down? I want to tell you all about the Earth is flat and NASA's controlled by Satan. And you're like,
I've got plenty of time. Lay it on me, buddy. This is going to be great.
I know. I'd have been like, well, the rest of my day is done. So
I've certainly got lots of experience in the OR questioning Jesus freaks.
Sure.
And sometimes they get mad when you point out the obvious to them. Sometimes they're just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. And I respect that. I don't know is a perfectly acceptable answer.
Absolutely.
How do you reconcile this? I don't really know, but I believe it because I want to believe it. Fine.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You're a dunce. You're an idiot. Someday you need to examine your convictions. But just believing something on bad evidence or no evidence isn't exactly a smart thing. But what? This dude is convinced. I'm like, bro, I can log us into direct feed from the ISS in orbit right now, and you will see those are fake. There's a fake photo. It's NASA supplied news feed. Of course they're going to make it look like it's round.
At one point we did leave the atmosphere and we went to the moon even and looked back.
Beyond that, the ancient Athenians pieced together doing mathematics by putting a stick in the ground and measuring the shadow, the sun's making a shadow on the stick.
Yeah.
Within like a dozen miles, they were able to establish how big of a sphere the Earth is. They did this 3,000 years ago.
That's incredible.
Using deduction and mathematics. The ancient Greeks figured this out 3,000 years ago. There was no NASA. What are you doing? What's wrong with you?
I'm just saying, if you had to go so far as to say, well, you needed to see it, we did that too.
Right.
So, I don't know what more you need.
You're like the guy that confronts Buzz Aldrin. The moon landing was fake. He's like, I was there, man. I walked on the damn thing. What are you talking about? And then Buzz, popped him one.
Right.
It's the greatest video of all time.
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
That one always cracks me up too, because they're like, yeah, because, it was all done with computer animation. Like, I'm sorry, have you seen computer animation from the 80s or the 90s?
You couldn't make Shang-Chi look good last year. Yeah, so there you had it. It was the weirdest, and it became the talk of the whole hospital for the rest of the day. What did you say to old man? Blah, 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 blah. Just told me the fucking imbecile.
I'd have been bringing it up to you all week. Like, if that had happened on a Monday, you'd have been sick of me by Thursday when I'm still bringing it up to you.
I mean, he's only there once a week, and I never work that service line, but I might try to now.
Really?
I might try to now. I mean, with someone like him, I can dangle the bait, and it's just a matter of time before he starts off with the N-word.
Oh, that's
or something ridiculous that gets him
fantastic.
It'll be funny for us.
That is great.
I won't do that. It's an asshole thing, dude. I'm not trying to ruin the man's career. But
no,
when he says their first instinct is to ridicule your beliefs, some beliefs deserve ridicule. They need to be ridiculed.
Well, sure. I mean, there's belief, and then there's just straight up stupidity because everything points to the opposite.
It's just when you are confronted with a conspiracy theorist, the best way to shut them down is say, "Show me your evidence." This clown that tells me the pyramids had to be built by aliens. It wasn't the Egyptians. Aliens built the pyramids. And you say, show me your evidence.
What's your evidence?
Well, the stones weigh 30 tons each. That's not evidence. The pyramids are just stacked rocks. Ancient Egyptians were more than capable of stacking rocks. What are you talking about?
There were historians that even figured out exactly how they did it and then replicated it.
On top of...
Because it was another one of those, well, I don't believe you unless I see it. Okay, let's get the logs, make some bricks. I'll show you how we move a stone. And then they did it.
It wasn't aliens. Like there are, in part of the pyramids, there are entire walls where it's written, they were the ledger of, this is how many stonemasons we employed and this is how much we paid them. This is how many laborers were on staff and this is how much we paid them. These are you got
so there's actually
credits right there.
Like a bill of lading is actually...
These are the guys that built the damn thing, and this is how much they were paid for it. And then here's the 1,000 or so slaves that we used, and this is where we purchased our straw from, and this is where we purchased these supplies from. The Egyptians kept records of this stuff.
There's like a whole invoice on the inside of a pyramid, and we're still like,
It's
aliens
like
might have written that.
It's like a plaque on a building nowadays, dedicated 1884.
Okay,
the Empire State
I see what you mean. Yeah,
These are the names of the people that worked on it, and then it showed their pay. It was obviously an accountant's ledger. It's all there. There's no Xenu from Tholar listed on there. It's dumb.
It's pretty unbelievable. So now's the part where I ask you for your comments. I'm not even sure what I'm asking
This
for.
might bring out the crazies, which will be hilarious.
Oh my God, that would be fantastic. Do you believe the Earth is flat? Or any of the other wild conspiracies? Tell us your wildest conspiracy down in the comments.
Space aliens built the pyramids. I'd love to hear from you, too.
Yeah.
Mensa members.
And if you're watching all of this and going,
Chemtrails.
And if
That's a great one. Chemtrails.
And if you're like, all of this is stupid, but they really did put trackers in the vaccines or anything like that. I want to know what your conspiracy is down there in the comments. What's the thing you believe in?
Let's go.
Let's go.
If it was just the COVID thing, I would have said, okay, you're a scientist. You should know how mRNA vaccines work. But I guess there's not long-term evidence. It hasn't been used for 20 years like the flu vax. We know exactly what that does. I guess I can see how someone might feel apprehensive. You could make a rational argument for not taking the vax.
Yeah.
Fine. I would disagree, but I get it. I mean, you may as well say, I know it. How do you know? Well, I spoke to Napoleon Bonaparte last night. It's like Hinckley. It's like Hinckley who shot Reagan.
Yeah.
And they got him in the interrogation. Why'd you shoot the president? Why'd you shoot Ronald Reagan? Well, Jodie Foster told me to.
Jodie Foster?
You're in communication with Jodie Foster? Yeah. She talks to me through my television set.
Oh,
got it. I think we got all we need to know from this guy.
And we're done.
It's like that. Presidential candidates get on stage and say, I know I'm supposed to be president because I spoke to God. Add to that, I know I'm supposed to be president because I spoke to God through my hairdryer. Why is one okay, but one is batshit crazy?
Right?
I would argue they're both batshit crazy. Take with that what you will.
Conspiracies, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and
all that, yeah.
All of that.
We'll see you on the next one.
We'll talk to you later. Bye.